So what is going on, everybody? It's been about 2 years since the last time I posted, and I am finally glad to say that we are back. In these last 2 years, I haven't really been posting. I was able to graduate, get a new job, move to a different state. I was able to hit all these life milestones, and it's been really, really busy. But today, I finally got everything set up, and I'm ready to bring you guys another episode. Before I get started, I do have to say thank you to all you guys who are in the community. When I last left posting, I had just a couple hundred subscribers, nothing too much. I posted almost weekly, and it was great. I was having a blast that summer. But eventually, I stopped posting just because, life gets busy. But just leaving my videos online, the other week I was going through a couple of the comments and just reading them really warmed my heart in some ways. And just seeing that my videos was able to make such an impact on some of you guys, and then how you guys were looking forward to some of my content and asking me where I was. It really got me motivated to kind of relaunch this channel. For those of you who are new, I extend my welcome to you guys, and I'm hoping to bring you guys some great content. So now, with all of that out of the way, Flipping for Profit series. What do we got for today? So the last time I left off on this series, we had just about $375, and $375 is a pretty decent amount, but how could I extend this money further? Which brings me to finding deals. And today, I think I might have one of the best deals so far on this channel. Today, I have 8 Nintendo Switches that I have purchased for a total of $212. And now that is just probably one of the best deals that I've probably seen on this channel. Just if you do the math out for these Nintendo Switches, I'm paying just close to $26 per unit. And it comes with a caveat though. I am taking on a lot of risk with this. I bought this lot essentially untested. In the description, it was basically untested. So I knew nothing about any of the Nintendo Switches. For all I know, they could all be water damaged, rusted out, and I can't really do much with them. But I decided for this series, we're going to go out, we're going to relaunch the series with as much momentum as we can and try to get a big deal going. With these 8 Nintendo Switches, if I can just fix about 2 or 3 of them, we would have made a profit. Anything else is just going to be extra. As a reminder, for this Flipping for Profit series, I started with about $100, and then my goal is to try to take it to $1,000. So to 10x my money. And it's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's already taken a lot of hard work just to get to this point right now. But we got to really accelerate things up. So this is why this deal is going to be so important in determining the future of this series. It's going to set us for success later down the line. So in terms of all of our lot, I have 6 Nintendo Switch Lites, and I have 2 OG Nintendo Switches. These are the day one Nintendo Switches, the base model, not the OLED. With that said, one thing I did do after I unboxed them was to label my Nintendo Switches. This is a really good tip that I have for you guys. If you're ever working with a lot of electronics, it's a really good idea to have them labeled. The reason why I like to have them labeled, by labeling them, I can distinguish which Switch is which. If you look behind me, I got a bunch of great Nintendo Switches. If one of them has a broken battery, one of them has a broken screen, I'm not going to be able to quickly look at, maybe a broken screen, but if it's something internal, it's going to be nice to just look at if I have a sheet of paper with all the issues per Nintendo Switch along with their ID number, and I can just quickly look at their ID number. It's going to make life a lot easier. My goal is to try to get 3 Nintendo Switches working as quick as possible. I want to try to get the easy ones to fix out onto the market as quick as I can, and then after that I want to try to work with the harder Nintendo Switches. If I eventually hit a wall and I don't think this Nintendo Switch is salvageable, since I have about $160 left, go ahead and buy another Nintendo Switch. So this could be a special episode in which I'm going to be coming back over here in a couple days and saying that I bought another Nintendo Switch in the same episode. But I have that budget just because I got $160 left for this episode. So I could potentially buy another broken Nintendo Switch, use these guys as parts, and then fix that other one, which I think would be really cool to see. Alternatively, I could sell them for parts. I made a video a while ago about trying to break down electronics and selling them for parts, so I could potentially do that as well. We're gonna really have to diagnose each Nintendo Switch to see going forwards what to do. With that said, I will need to first try to power them on, and then we're going to run some basic tests. Just make sure the basic functionality of the Nintendo Switch is there. If it's there, then I feel pretty confident to go online and just list it. And then hopefully I'll be able to make some sales this week. But I guess that's going to be determined by how productive we are when it comes, and how lucky we are when it comes to getting these Nintendo Switches to be working. So with that out of the way, let's get started with the Nintendo Switch repairs. So after I unboxed all the Nintendo Switches, got them all labeled, my first thing to do was to kind of get a baseline of what I had. The reason why you kind of want to get a baseline of what you got is you kind of want to have two different piles of electronics. One that you know absolutely I can without a doubt fix, and one that I might have to do a little bit more investigation on or are going to be a little bit more difficult to fix. So by having a baseline, you can prioritize fixing the ones that you know are definitely going to be able to be fixed, getting those onto the market, giving you some more time later on to try and fix the ones that you aren't too familiar with. With that said, with me trying to debug and trying to boot up all 8 of my Nintendo Switches, I came to the realization I got about 3 that do come up properly, 4 that are completely dead, and then 1 that's kind of in the gray area, which I'll get to in a second. The first Nintendo Switch that I played around with was a Nintendo Switch Lite, and this one had quite a bit of issues. You try to boot it up, it had a bunch of like phantom touching, in which you wouldn't even touch the screen at all, and it would just like spaz out on you, like trying to like touch all of these little things. So this is an issue that is related to with the screen. So after taking the thing apart, I noticed that, I mean, just looking at the thing, there was just torn cables in it. I mean, someone's been in this Nintendo Switch before. And then another sign that someone has been in is the screws were really, really tight. And I did get pretty unlucky with some of the screws in that some of them, they were just so tight that there was just no way to unscrew them without stripping the screw. So I did strip a couple of the screws. And then one tool I do have is a pliers. So this is a pliers that I purchased recently, and it works great. It takes out all the stripped screws. It's able to grab onto those heads of the screws and just take them straight out of the sockets. And this was a really, really effective tool for this repair in particular. And this is where it brings me back to my one gray area switch. So this gray area switch is kind of a funny case, in which when I was first powering it up, I noticed that it did post, but after it would post, the Nintendo logo would go away, and then the thing would like ramp up to a bajillion RPMs, and it would sound absolutely menacing. I mean, the thing sounded like it was gonna blow up or something. What I did in that case was that after the battery drained out, thankfully, I opened it up and then I took a look, and the thing's water damaged. I mean, some signs of it being water damaged are, I mean, inside there was rust. I mean, the only way it can be rusted is if moisture got in. And there's also a little seal on the Nintendo Switch board. You'll notice this on the bottom of the Nintendo Switch board. If there's like, it kind of looks like a little bit of paper stamp on it. But if this paper stamp lights up pink, that means there's definitely water that touched it at some point. And if it's white, no water ever touched that stamp or that part of the Nintendo Switch. So it was obviously, this one in this case was a pink bright. So this let me know that it was water damaged at some point. This unit is going to be my kind of donor Nintendo Switch, in which if I need to draw any parts from, I'm going to be going to this, because this motherboard is just not salvageable. It's been water damaged. This guy was my donor screen for my Nintendo Switch that was spazzing out. So see how when you buy a lot, like you can pick and choose some of the parts that you do need and don't need. So buying a lot is so useful, because now you can have all these parts. Broken Nintendo Switches that you know aren't going to be fixable are now going to be used as parts for the rest. And then this is really useful for my second Nintendo Switch, in which I noticed that the Joy-Con was a little off. The rubber was kind of peeling off from the joystick. So for that reason, I replaced the joystick, put it onto the other Nintendo Switch, and then that one was working pretty good now. My last Nintendo Switch that did boot up was the one trying to play around with it a little bit, but I noticed that the rails weren't really docking the Nintendo Switch properly. You dock it, and then after a little while, it would spaz in and out, in and out, in and out with the connection. So I knew something was going on with the rails. So one thing to do with the rails before you go out and get new rails is just try to clean them. A little isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip and scrub it a little bit. And then after that, I noticed that the rails connected. Sometimes there's a little debris trapped within those docking pins, and cleaning them out can really help. So in this case, I got pretty lucky and it did help. So I didn't really need new rails. But the only downside is I don't really have Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons to pair with this guy. Ideally, I would get some Joy-Cons. to pair. I would say this is kind of it for all the base level repairs that I can really do for today. And that brings me to my current day, in which I have technically 3 Nintendo Switches that do work, 2 of them being Switch Lites and then 1 of them being a regular Switch. The 2 Switch Lites I have already sold, and I do have the numbers for them right in front of me. But the last Nintendo Switch, ideally I would get some joysticks. So I'm holding off on selling that for now. And in my inventory, I got 4 Nintendo Switches that don't boot up, that I haven't really diagnosed why they didn't boot up. Hopefully I'll be able to show you guys my diagnostic work in the next episode, because I kind of want to prioritize just getting this video out because it's been so long. But I think that would make a really great next video to do on the Flipping for Profit series. I also have 1 Nintendo Switch that is a parts Nintendo Switch, which has been really, really handy in this episode, just grabbing parts from it. I do have the numbers for me, so I only was able to sell 2 Nintendo Switches, both of them being the gray Nintendo Switch Lites, and I sold them both for $110. Now the numbers between them are a little bit different because I mean they got to be shipped to different people, but these are just the numbers for one, and then they're basically the same for the other one, plus or minus maybe $1. I sold the Nintendo Switch for $110. eBay had to collect their fee. So eBay fees, I paid a total of $16.10 for eBay fees. The shipping label itself cost about $8.21. An ad fee of about $2.42. If you pay a little fee, eBay will promote your listings, and then anytime anybody searches Nintendo Switch, they'll make sure to bump it up and give it a little bit more higher priority. After factoring all the math, I make about $82.92. I'm just going to round it up to $83. $83 per gray Nintendo Switch, meaning this episode we made a total of $166. So let's go back and do a quick recap of all our expenses. So I started the episode with $374. I spent about $212 on this Nintendo Switch lot, and in total I made $166. When you do the math out, I'm currently sitting at $322, meaning that we lost about $52. Granted, I still got 1 working Nintendo Switch. I still have 4 Nintendo Switches that I haven't even really touched besides seeing if they booted up. So I still would say, even though this first video back, I'm ending it on a loss, I still have a lot to gain, in which, I mean, as I said before, I got so many parts left, I have more budget, and I do have 2 more packages, which I did start using some of the capital, which I'll save for next episode. And it does kind of suck that I don't have all my money, but the thing is, it takes time, you know? It takes time to repair, it takes time to diagnose, and it takes time to make these videos. So I would rather prioritize getting something out for you guys, because I've already sold 2 Nintendo Switches, which is pretty impressive for 1 episode. We still got a lot of work to do, but granted, I think next episode is going to be even better than this episode. So I would count, even though we're ending today on a loss, it is still a big win in my books. So with that said, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. It feels really great to be back recording things for you guys, and I got a lot more content planned in the near future. So stay tuned, you guys, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.